Welcome back. Hello, my name is Martine Dowden, and today we are going to talk about container queries. We've had media queries for quite some time and the ability to affect our layout based on our window size or our screen size, but we haven't until recently been able to do it based on our container. Now that we have container queries, which are available on all major browsers, we can change our layout or our styles based on the container or the size of the container that an element is within. So let's take a look at how we can make that work. I've created a component in Vue 3, although what we're going to be talking about today can be done in any framework or without one entirely in just vanilla HTML and CSS. Our component is comprised of an image, a name, a title, and some content. This is something you might see in a blog post talking about the author, or maybe as part of a portfolio giving the basic information about the person. This is something we could use just about anywhere. Because we can use it anywhere, we want to make sure that regardless of narrow screens or large screens, it's going to look good. We also want to make sure that no matter where it's placed within those screens, so no matter which container it's placed in, it also looks good. Just like when working with media queries, I'm going to start with my narrow layout and work my way up with container queries to create my larger layouts. Let's start by styling our card for narrow containers and/or narrow screens. I'm not going to go over much of what the inner CSS of the card is, simply because that's not the focus. This is simply the example I'm using today. The important bits are going to be as they relate to the container. So now that we have our narrow screen handled, the card that is placed on the narrow column looks pretty good, but the one that is on the right column has a very wide text, and if we were to increase the window size, we can see that that text gets wider and wider and wider. So let's go ahead and change the layout for when the card is in a container that has a minimum width of 350 pixels. Before we jump right into writing our query style, we first need to define our container using the container type property. This property goes on the outermost element of our component. In our case, the outermost element of our component is the section. We are going to give it a property of container type. This property defines our containing context. It tells the browser that we want to query the container's dimension. We have 3 available values that we can use: size, inline size, and normal. Now, this can get a little bit confusing simply because when we talk about inline size, we're talking about the direction in which the text runs. For this particular context, this is also true for Flexbox and Grid, CSS has moved away from using right and left and looks at the direction of writing text instead. Therefore, inline size in our particular example refers to the width. If we were concerned with both the width and the height, we would use block instead. So let's go ahead and add our container type to our section, which has a class of about container. Now that our container is defined, we can go ahead and write our query. Our container query is looking for a min width of 350 pixels. Whatever selector we put inside of that container query, it will apply if there is an ancestor container defined that has a min width of 350 pixels. We can get a little bit more specific than that though. We can actually name our container so that we can specifically say when that container has a min width of 350 pixels, then apply the styles. So let's go ahead and do that. To name our container, we are going to use the container name property. The container name is whatever you want to name it, so it's whatever string. We're going to call ours card. Now we can edit our query to specifically look for when card has a min width of 350 pixels. Now the styles within our query will only be applied if the card container is a min width of 350 pixels. Inside our query, we put our edited styles. We've moved the image, the name, and the title over to the side so that we take up more horizontal space and less vertical space. by defining our container and then writing a container query inside of which we put alternate styles to be applied when a specific condition is met, in our case, min width 350 pixels, we've been able to create two card layouts that are responsive to where they are placed on the page rather than the window width. And that is how we can create multiple layouts based on the size of the container our element finds itself in. The code found in this video, as well as a link to a blog post summarizing this information, can be found in the description below. And as always, if you enjoyed my content, please like and subscribe. Happy coding, everybody!